Hi folks, Editor Adam here with a few notes before we start. This episode marks the first one where we have our full back catalogue on both YouTube and Spotify. This means if you enjoy D and I nattering away on your second monitor, don't worry, we'll continue to be there for you. But if you also like the idea of listening to us on the move, during the commute, or during a well-earned weekend nap, then use the link in the show notes and subscribe to us on the Spotify app. Also in those notes will be links to the channels of our lovely guest, George Daniel Lea, and the other creators that we mentioned in the intro. I'm also going to stick some chapter markers in there, as our guests are very passionate about the film we're covering today, so our intro is a little longer than usual. Okay then, on with the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fluffenbusters. My name is Adam White. I do hope you're all doing well.
Excellent. That rubbish. It doesn't even start with I wish.
Now forgive me folks, but I'm going to do this intro somewhat in reverse. You see, if you're new to the channel, we record old-fashioned movie commentaries. You know, the sort you used to get on DVDs and Blu-rays, the sort missing from streaming services nowadays. And one reason we do this is because we enjoy the chance to hear people talk about films that they've been influenced by, or maybe they're just a fan of. And I personally think a fan of any film benefits from hearing those different viewpoints on a project. So, in the show notes, I'm going to leave links to two great videos that give individual perspectives on the subject of today's episode. One is by Silver Fox, one is by J.D. Hansel. If you like what we do, then I think you'll really appreciate them too.
Come, let us be brothers henceforth and fight for the right as one.
And so, what is the film that we're talking about today? Well, an odd impact of the 80s blockbuster boom was that two creators were empowered to go on a spree of movie-making sponsorships. Between them, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas executive produced almost 60 films, allowing creatives they worked with, or they just had respect for in the industry, and allowed them to bring their own unique visions to life on the big screen. And in 1986, George Lucas helped friend and frequent collaborator Jim Henson to bring his coming-of-age fantasy Labyrinth to the big screen. Starring Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie, the film flopped at the time, but retains a cult status and a loyal following.
You don't by any chance know the way through this labyrinth, do you?
Oh, me? Nah, I'm just a worm.
And with me, I have two lovely and very patient guests. Or rather, that's what my script says. But actually, since jumping on, I've listened to them go 25 minutes hell for leather on subjects that cover the entirety of society.
Did you say it?
So first up, we have the lovely Big D. How are you?
You can't shut me up if I start, I can't help it.
And we also have the lovely George Daniel Lea. How are you, sir?
I feel like I've got to almost like preemptively apologize for this one because, I can't pretend any objectivity on this.
Well, this is the thing, because I've sat here listening to you guys go over the world for 20 to 25 minutes. And although we've even joked about putting some of that audio in this program somehow, the reality is we're going to have enough to say about the film. But I will say this now without a hint of cheesiness. I am so proud that I'm friends with you, listening to your views on what you've said.
And I commend you. Rarely have I seen such courage. You are a valiant man, Sir Hoggle.
And for those out there as well, follow these people, subscribe, support them, and maybe you too can hear what they were talking about.
Maybe buy their books.
Maybe I think that would be great. I think links might be in the description. So, folks, Labyrinth, which is an oddity. It wouldn't be made now, or if it was made, it would take a monumental effort. George, very quickly, if somebody has never heard of this film, why should they seek it out and give it a go?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's such a strange film for its era and just generally. It is ostensibly a fantasy film, but it's not fantasy as one would understand in today's context. I mean, this was before obviously the great fantasy revolution that came after Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy in the early 2000s. It's before the incredible dearth of fantasy cinema that happened in the 1990s. There was quite a lot of fantasy around at this time in the sort of mid 1980s in mainstream cinema, but it tended more towards the sort of Dark Crystal, the sort of C.S. Lewis style fantasy, the otherworldly fantasy. This is something else. This is closer to something like it's more magic realism. It's got a feeling of Angela Carter about it, the Magic Toy Shop or the stories from the Bloody Chamber. It's a strange kind of psychoscape fantasy, and it's about the use of imagination as a means of confrontation and self-development. It's the weirdest project in almost every respect, as we'll get into. I mean, like, just everything about it is so peculiar. It's so off-piste. I mean, even like the audience that it's aimed at, which is ostensibly a younger audience, right? It's aimed at children. I mean, I saw this film when I can't even remember when I first saw this film. I was so young that when I first encountered this film, it was just ambient. It was one of those things that was just in the world. I can't remember a time before Labyrinth, basically. And as a result of that, it's seared into my brain. It's seared into my mind. It's one of those things where I loved it as a kid, but I loved it in very literal terms. I loved it for for its effects and for the puppets and for the monsters and probably for David Bowie, nascent queer boy that I was. But coming back to it later, like as a teenager, and seeing what it was actually about, with a critical eye, that made me fall in love with it all over again, because it's so intelligent. It's such an intelligent, complex piece of work. You'll see.
D, good luck following that, but give it a go.
No, I was just going to say, for me, I came to Labyrinth probably a few years after its release, so when I was about 9 or 10. I'd seen bits of it on TV, and I remember from promotional things. I'm sure Blue Peter did a thing on it when it was in production or coming out.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. It did get it got a fair amount of coverage on British kids' TV, to be fair.
That's really weird.
Goodness,
Sorry, you're not likely to bump into them while you're over here. Ludo.
What do you think, Ludo?
What about
Vicky's
you?
going to tell you what he thought
well,
about this.
he was quite impressed with that one.
Thumbs up.
He was
for that
popping
one.
away.
Likes
here.
that. Yeah.
How many votes? Which
Given its
Yeah.
themes and the stuff that it explores, and given the TV and cinema climate of the 1980s in the UK, you have to bear in mind it was very conservative. We had like Mary Whitehouse and her crusade doing the rounds. We had the video nasty scare. That this film was promoted on children's television is really fascinating. As you'll see, guys, the stuff in this film, it's all, I mean, there's nothing that overt apart from one very glaring element, which I'm sure we'll comment on. There's nothing that overt. Everything is subtextual.
I mean, there's a couple of reasons for that, because, I mean, mainly you got the Jim Henson connection, because Jim Henson famously the Muppets, which
Of course.
are almost universally adored.
Yeah.
And if I remember rightly, they shot this in the UK.
Yes. So there were elements shot at Elstree.
Yeah, I had a suspicion that was the case.
In fact, there is a massive British influence in this film, isn't there? I mean,
huge.
Terry Jones, right?
Yeah, Brian Froud did the
Brian
conceptual
Froud,
artwork.
Bowie, obviously.
Yeah. And so many of the character archetypes, there's quite a lot of British folklore around them.
Yes, very much.
And I mean, the whole idea of the Goblin King and when he steals babies.
Well, he steals children, right? It's almost like it's a face story, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's deeply baked into the mythology of these islands, so it just latches on. But like you were saying, it was a very conservative time. But also, there was a big thing where a lot of the kids' channels, they like to try and promote things like this because, one, it was a massively technical production. For Henson Creature Workshop, possibly this might be their finest hour.
And ambition, right? There's some sequences in this that are mad. I mean, just conceptually mad.
I mean, the Dark Crystal is stunning, but this might be Jim Henson fully unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it plays to the strengths of Henson's crew because the thing that they've become so famous for is that people will interact with the Muppets like they are real people.
Like they're real,
Even
yeah.
though the puppeteer is there, it feels real.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing where sometimes something can be too perfect. So a lot of the Henson projects, they tend to go the other way. They put the imperfections in when they're doing their non-Muppet work. The Storyteller, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Farscape.
Yeah.
It's the imperfections that are in there.
Ray Harryhausen always said that it's a character first, then it's a monster, then it's an effect. That was his whole philosophy about creating his stop motion creatures, and that invests them with something. It invests them with a certain animus, and you see that in Henson as well. These creatures, all of them, they're characters first. They have little foibles. They have little twitches and movements, and there's little things in their voices and their accents that just make them recognizable somehow.
Now, I could, if I wanted to, let you guys run for about another 90 minutes and never actually start the film. I could just go, thanks for coming, folks. Bye. But I know there would be at least 40 or 50 people that would be a bit miffed.
Yes.
Especially people that follow you, George, because they want to hear you on this. So I'm going to say we're going to kick off. So it'll be a 3, 2, 1, go. And we will start from the beginning of the TriStar logo. So
yeah, no problem.
People a nice run in. So are you ready, guys?
Yep.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Excellent.
Now you mentioned Brian,
the
lovely Brian, the concert. So this was a family affair for the Proud family.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Brian was in this, yeah.
Because Brian obviously was doing the concept. His son Toby is the kid, is the baby.
Yeah,
of
course.
And he and his wife, I think they met on Dark Crystal.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's delightful.
Some very early computer graphics here.
Yes. And you think about it, this is a film known for puppetry.
Yeah.
And yet the first thing we see is CG.
A CG owl, right? And in its own peculiar way, it works, right?
Yeah.
The reason it works is because it has that uncanny valley quality, and it's because the owl is itself not real, right? It's symbolic. It's an imaginary entity.
That they're using extra effects on the owl, like the reflections.
Yes.
That don't really serve a purpose, but it's almost to go, look how stylish this is.
Yeah.
People, I know at home, if you're watching this, you're going, that's a bit of a janky owl. We didn't care. We were happy with it.
We didn't know. I didn't even know.
It was magical to us. Oh, and by the way, I should say, because I cut this out of the intro just so we could get to the film. I saw this at the cinema.
Oh, wow.
So when it comes to a certain moment, I actually did have a visceral reaction, but for not a reason that anyone I have seen online has ever talked about. So we will go into that later on. Yeah. But it's lovely to see as well the crew, and when they had the people at the beginning. They include as well the people that are operating the creatures, the puppets, the Muppets, and also some of the voices as well, which is a lovely way as well to show that this is quite a small group of people. Alex Thompson, we've already covered because he did Demolition Man. And a great mainstay of British cinema. But yeah, there's definitely a nice British feel to all of this.
I love that shift. I love the transition from the unreal, the uncanny, to the ostensibly real. I mean, that you've got the themes of the film, like right there, told completely visually. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the introduction of Jennifer Connelly, of course, very unusual character, very strange character. Sarah, she's meant to be 16 at this point.
She's meant to be 16. She was 14 when they were shooting it.
Yes, yeah. So a very unusual 16-year-old in this, a very unusual 16-year-old girl for the 1980s, because she's effectively LARPing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which would have been a very boys thing to do around this period. I mean, D&D would have been a thing in the US, absolutely, but it certainly wouldn't have been the purview of girls, of women.
Yeah, it was. It might have been something that saw her kind of ostracized.
Yeah.
I mean, they never touch on it.
Mm.
But then again, in the background story, her mother is, I believe, an actress.
Yes.
Actress dance. She's gone. She's out of the picture. She's run off with a guy.
Mhm.
Run off with a guy who is David Bowie.
Yes, right. Reflections again, by the way.
He's in the pictures in the scrapbook. It's literally him.
Brilliance. Absolute brilliance, right?
And this guy's name is Jared.
I mean, I never noticed that. I have never noticed that. That is
It's scary.
utterly brilliant, right?
Everything in her room, everything in her world, even this. Look at the dog that we have on screen. That dog turns up in the labyrinth. Never recognized. But she's pulling, and it's the power of this young girl's imagination as she focuses on all these wonderful, both good and bad influences on her life.
Yeah. And in her own internal realm, right? She's weaving them into her own internal reality, that emotional reality. Which, she's a teenage girl. It's like it's fraught, it's confusing. She's in that sort of that state where she doesn't quite know who she is or what her identity is yet. And oh man, there's so much cool stuff. Well, I mean, what fantasy story from this era explored those themes? Outside of the really hardcore feminist stuff like Angela Carter's work.
Well, also, what stories have allowed a young lady? I mean, I'll say young lady. Am I okay to say a young lady instead of a girl? Because she's on the cusp.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
but she's being told, even like her stepmother, who, let's face it, a bit of a thankless situation for the stepmother.
Yes.
But the stepmother is telling her, oh, it'd be great if you had a boyfriend, if you did this, if you did that. It's like she just wants to be able to grow up in her own time.
Yes.
And this is before social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I watched this and I thought about the challenges, and I obviously looked at other reviews and other people that have spoken about this and their opinions. And then I just thought, for all the challenges she faces, thank goodness that this character was in a time before social media, which makes it 300 times worse.
My God, can you imagine? I mean, this is wonderful. All of this, the camera is telling you everything.
Yeah.
It's giving you what's going to be in the labyrinth and why. It's all there.
Meanwhile, the parents are almost, I mean, they're not just side characters. You remember, is it Time Bandits?
Yeah.
And the way the sort of parents are treated almost as their background characters that really don't matter in the end.
No, they're kind of disposable. They become a joke at the end of Time Bandits. And it's a really grim joke as well.
And it almost feels like that here because you don't see them after this point.
No, I mean, the parents are really kind of interesting because Sarah is of the ilk where she is constantly pulling away from things like the family unit and the prescriptions of family. And also, I mean, weirdly, of her gender as well. She is a very unusual young woman. A very unusual young woman for this era. She's denying the kind of surrogate maternal role that would be imposed upon her by this family situation, and it's so cool. I just love the tensions of it. It's brilliant.
He's got as well, in terms of props and things that when I watch the film now, I'm like, I think this is a very, very cool young lady. She's got like a Judge Dredd collected works.
I mean,
in her room, and it's just like that's brilliant. This is
the 1980s. Like, people forget like how prescriptive the 1980s were in terms of gender roles. Like everything was pink and blue, wasn't it? Like there were toy lines and there were franchises that were aimed at boys and there were those that were aimed at girls. But at the same time, and I'm sure you guys remember this, even as kids, that didn't really work for us. Like, there were boys who liked My Little Pony, and there were girls who liked Transformers, and so on and so forth. Because children and young people just aren't like that. They don't respond to that kind of prescription. In fact, they'll often, as Sarah is doing, they'll act out against it. They'll push against those boundaries, trying to find themselves, trying to understand themselves.
A lot of them, when you, like, for instance, and George, you'll know this when we've spoken to now women who have grown up and they weren't allowed Transformers as a kid.
Yeah.
It builds that resentment. Or you hear from people that they were a fan until they told somebody like a parent or a trusted friend, and then
Yeah.
suddenly they were told you cannot like this.
You can't like this. Yeah.
And so you had this, and I hate to use the word closeted because of the other connotations, but it was the case that like male My Little Pony fans would hide the fact they like My Little
Yeah.
Pony. And
Yeah.
nowadays that sounds crazy, but it
Yeah.
just you're right. It was so, if you were a boy, you grew up with this. If you were a girl, you grew up with this. And it also as well was, you then had these worrying things with your dad would tell you to go out and get a girlfriend
Yes.
because it was his pride
Yeah.
that he wanted his son, and yet of course the girls in your class, their parents would be telling them not to spend any time with you because
Right.
they'd be worried, and it was like, well, how, split
Where do we go, right?
directions.
It's constant like push-pull, isn't it? Be this and be that at the same time, even though it's contradictory. And that's kind of where Sarah finds herself. She knows who she is, she knows what she is, and she knows where her enthusiasms lie. That's very clear. And you have that wonderful tension between, I mean, it's often described as a coming-of-age story, which it absolutely is. But as we'll talk about when we get deeper into the story, this is not a coming of age story where it says, okay, we put aside childish things now. There is this absolute separation between the child and the woman. This actually reconciles the two in the most beautiful way imaginable.
You can in fact, there's a benefit and a beauty to keeping elements of your childhood, that wonder, that imagination.
The
In fact,
imagination,
imagination is one of the elements that's used in I think one of the sequels, well, that was done in comic form. The idea of your imagination is as valuable as anything else. But also as well, we had this scene play out, and obviously one thing that the film was criticized for at the time was the use of the baby crying, because obviously it's quite a tough thing for anyone to hear, that primal thing of a baby crying. But then it cuts to your first shot of the goblins, and it's a frame packed full of these weird faces, and it must have been such a shock at the time, because you're like, hang on a second, we've not seen anything to indicate that this is wrong.
Nothing like that. And also there's no context for it. It's brilliant in that regard. It just cuts to it and you're like, oh, okay, we're now in a fantasy world. And I love the fact that when she's appealing to her own imagination to save her, that's when they stir. That's when they come alive, right? They're all packed together in this dark space. You don't even know if the labyrinth exists at this point.
Yeah. I always thought that they were trapped in the mirror. As a kid, and in fact, I was slightly apprehensive of mirrors for a while after I saw this film.
Because of that, yeah.
Because I just thought there was something very weird about it. I could never get it.
There's a Dracula element to this as well. Of course, she's invited them in. She's called to them, and now she's made a kind of bargain. She's made a kind of pact. The owl is significant as well. I mean, symbolically, owls mean all sorts of things mythologically. I always think of the owl of Pallas Athena, of course. And of course, what is one of the credos of the old cults of Pallas Athena? Know thyself. To thine own self be true.
Yeah.
Which is kind of it's an encapsulation of everything in this film. Oh my God. Bowie.
There's elements of choose your own adventure games.
Yeah.
Because at least more than one book, especially more than one of the books, was the whole idea that you were trapped in your house, and the house had turned into a haunted house, and all you have to do is try and get back to your room. And that was the entire point of the adventure. It's like the horror on your doorstep. And of course, you also had the Peter Pan thing.
Yes, the window.
And Peter Pan, in many interpretations, he is such a selfish, because he is the boy that never grew up.
Oh my God! I mean, have you read the original play as it was? It's sinister. Oh
really?
My God, it's so sinister. It's so weird. Pan is a very ambiguous figure in that story. Things happen like if a lost boy dies in Neverland, which happens, he forgets them. just completely forgets they ever existed, because of course death cannot happen in this perfect world that he's created for himself. That's an adult thing. That's something that adults deal with. So he forgets. It's really sinister. There's something very dark about. He's very like Jareth. He's very like Jareth, like thematically. He's the. I don't want to say he's the dark side of imagination, because I think that's too simple, but he certainly encapsulates some of the darker, more obsessive and escapist qualities of imagination, just as Jareth does.
Yeah.
And Jareth is in the film. He's old. He's not only 300 years, but he feels old. He's tired.
Yes.
He is. I mean, although they had a prequel, it's not exactly canon, but I believe the idea was that he was a babe that wasn't rescued.
Right. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but I kind of react against that, because I think that makes him too literal. I think it makes him far too literal. For me, he's kind of an artifact of her imagination as much as anything else.
Oh yeah.
He's like this weird broiling mass of her own internal contradictions, and the fact that it's Bowie, that's a stroke of genius. Casting a rock star is a stroke of absolute genius.
Oh yeah.
Because of course embodied in him you have all of this kind of coming of age, sort of very troubling sexual tension, where Sarah will be aware of men and of boys at this point, but she won't really know how to respond to them.
Yeah, and I know this is the oddest thing that I'll probably add into this commentary, but it always reminds me as well of a little scene during some sort of, I think it was a documentary where they were following Take That at the time. And they sort of went up to Robbie Williams and he was on stage, and or somewhere where there was just hundreds of fans screaming at him. And he just looked at the camera and he went, look at them. Look at them. They're probably around average 14 years old. And they're screaming at me for love, and I'm 22 years old. What am I meant to do? How is that meant to be right? And I just thought that makes perfect sense. And when they were looking to cast this, I think it was they thought about people like Sting, Michael Jackson.
Yes, Michael Jackson was considered, which given that would have had a whole other valence. I don't think you know.
But also as well, Mick Jagger, who I thought if they'd done that, I think his take would have been a lot crueler and a lot like Bowie has the wherewithal with it to strike the right tone.
Yes.
In fact, he even insisted on certain elements not being included because he was like, there's a line here we cannot cross. But the fact that when I went through all the research on this, Connolly has been nothing but glowing about him on set, his attitude, his professionalism, the way he put everyone at ease, the entire process, the fact that she's even said she's collaborated on books regarding this film up until last year, and she still talks fondly of it. And she was 14. I mean, she
was 14, so I mean, that must have been, and she's on set with David fucking Bowie.
I know.
That must have been like, can you imagine how intimidating that must have been? Can you imagine how difficult? I mean, at this time as well, when everyone would have known who David Bowie was. Like,
I mean, this was Bowie pretty much. This was pretty much peak Bowie, to be honest. I mean,
peak popularity. Funnily enough, his lowest point creatively.
Yes, creatively, by all accounts, Although there's still stuff I love from this era. There's still, I mean, as you know, inevitably, there's still stuff I absolutely adore. But I think you're right. I mean, I think what Bowie gets about Jareth is his ambiguity.
Yes.
And I love the way it's in the script as well, and it's in the direction, but it's in the performance. He invests the character with so much that is contradictory, and deliberately so. So he comes to Sarah as an almost paternal figure in many respects.
Yes.
He's a guide, he's a sage, he's trying to... You can read this story as Jareth guiding her through her self-discovery, and as his apparent cruelties as being kind of necessary in that regard, or just part of the performance. I don't think that's true myself. I think when he's cruel, he's cruel. I think when he's the sage, he's the sage. And I think when he's the lover, the courter, that's what he is, because that's what she requires of him. In fact, he even says it. He says it later. Well, you know, later on, when this reaches its peak and when the labyrinth collapses and you get the final confrontation, he says to her, "I'm exhausted of living up to your expectations of me." because they're contradictory, because she's contradictory. And in order to get through this labyrinth, the labyrinth of the mind, the labyrinth of her own soul and identity, she needs to reconcile that. Not do away with it, not deny it, not ignore it, but understand, yes, I'm contradictory. Yes, what I want is contradictory. What I expect is contradictory. And that's just something to work through.
And while she's doing all of this as well, she comes into not conflict, but she just comes and meets all these characters. All these characters are flawed. They all have flaws that you can recognize, but she embraces them all. She's compassionate. She's kind. She's kind to Hoggle almost from the first time they meet. She doesn't treat him cruelly. And that's one thing I like about this adventure is that she doesn't turn into some hard-bitten badass. She doesn't, and this whole idea as well of strength and, it doesn't need to be overt. It's just she's kind, she's compassionate, she empathizes with the people around her, which is why she builds up these people who all have their own flaws, be it Hoggle, who has no confidence and hates himself, or the knight who's
Sir Didymus,
who's bound, Sir Didymus, who's bound by duty, but at the same time he kind of wants a purpose, and and it's just she retains her inner strength,
and her compassion, right?
and it's never heavily advertised as well. She doesn't like make some final stand and stand there going, "I'm stronger than you, I win."
Right, yes.
She's kind, and
there's no sort of like telling the audience how you're supposed to react to this. It's just there, isn't it? It's in the character, it's in the performances, and it's in the dynamics between them. And even right up until the final encounter, she still doesn't know what she actually has to do or how to overcome this situation. It just occurs to her. It just comes on because it's natural and it's sincere.
I got to ask D. So when this came out, there were a few people that obviously this film did have quite a lot of critics at the time. But one of the criticisms made was about Jennifer and the fact that she seemed clueless. But do you think that she's embodying correctly what someone of her age would genuinely be like in this situation?
I think so.
And is it the case that we're so used to seeing 19 and 20-year-olds playing, young teenagers in films?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a bit of a novelty that she is younger playing older. Normally, it's the fifth way around.
Right.
Because I actually think Sarah, as we see her at the start, where she's clearly annoyed with her stepmother and her dad, and then sees one of her toys has gone missing, and it drives her a bit. It gets her angry. That's a very relatable way of thing that she's done, and the way she reacts to her brother not being able to comfort him. I've had difficulties with my niece and nephew, not to the same extent she has, and wishing on a Goblin King to take them away, but it's very relatable. And
oh god, anyone who has a younger sibling will tell you that. There are, especially if there's,
and also when the gap's as big as this one, but her regret when she hears him stop crying, her reaction, her change is instant.
Immediate.
She sells the regret and dread that she's made a mistake, that she's at fault here. And this entire thing is, in large part, is her.
I suppose part of like the whole story is predicated on that reconciliation, isn't it? It's understanding that, okay, I had these terrible feelings and I had these terrible thoughts, but you know what? Again, teenage girl, young woman, right? You are going to anyone who's a teenager has those thoughts and those feelings because you don't know who you are.
There's nothing wrong with those thoughts.
It's okay, right? It's okay.
But there's a fear of voicing them.
And of being judged. Right?
Then something happening as well, and feeling that you're at fault.
This is an extravaganza, isn't it? Look at this. Just like the really details in this shot are mad. It's absolutely crazy.
There's something about Henson's crew that, this might be one of the biggest actor and puppet performances out there, but they have a long history of scenes like this. Just as a good example, just watch Muppet Christmas Carol or Muppet Treasure Island. Bowie's performance as Jareth is easily the equal of Michael
Oh.
Caine or Tim Curry in that regard.
He's taking it so seriously. I mean, he's so in it. He's so there. You know, he is Jareth. He's the Goblin
Yeah.
King, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there is nothing else here.
Well, it's like the idea that Michael Caine plays it dead straight
hmm
by being in a movie with the Muppets. He's absolutely, I will play this as serious as anything.
Yeah.
Whilst Tim Curry is, I am a Muppet like everyone else.
I'm a Muppet, like everyone. Yeah.
And Bowie is like, he splits the difference. He's playing the character dead straight. He is Jareth, but he embodies the spirit of being a Muppet, even if he's not the same way. It's kind of great in a way.
It is kind of brilliant, isn't it? And you don't question it. I mean, I find it difficult because I can't be objective. I just can't. I don't know if someone who wasn't like raised with this would see it differently, but I can't separate him. Everything here just works for me. It just feels so correct and it gels together.
There's a commitment. Yeah, for the amount of cohesion in all the design and everything, it just and Jennifer and David, their part as well, that they're not breaking the illusion. That you feel completely that they are there, which is really not easy to do at all.
Oh, not especially for David, because like the main set as well. They talked about this being almost like a Swiss cheese because there were so many performers. There were so many. Now they actually refer to them, I think, constantly as small people. But so you had the performers in the suits, you had all of the puppeteers. So it meant that when David was dancing around, he had to be very aware of where his foot was going. But also, and this is different to the Muppets, where the Muppets, they have the whole thing set up so that when you're opposite Kermit, you can hear Kermit and it sounds like it's roughly coming from Kermit. Where unfortunately on this set, the sound would always be coming from below. So there was this disconnect. So it was the challenge for all, well, Jen and David, to then just keep bonding when you're looking at someone's face, but you hear the sound coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, very difficult, right? Very.
And of course, and then you have Hoggle, which is 5 people.
Yeah, it's a phenomenally complex character.
Plus a performer. A performer who can't see where they're going. And you just think, this is nuts.
The whole film, right?
I've got to say, sorry, I know we'll probably, by the way, folks, don't worry. We're not going to do too much look at this scene because I know just from what we're saying, we're all slightly out, but don't worry, it's all good. But I will say, one of the biggest unsung heroes of this film was a puppet, but not the puppet you see here. It was a sooty puppet.
Right.
Because little Toby, little Toby was fine around all of the goblins. He'd never cry. He was fine.
Right.
But when he was near David, it was a bit harder because he recognized a human that was not his parents. So off camera, David had a sooty puppet that would keep him happy. So David himself, the irony of him being on set with a hand puppet. Playing to this chart, which I think is brilliant.
Oh, absolutely amazing! I love it.
I think if there's a picture of that needs to go into the Flickr book for this audience somehow, because the idea of David Bowie in full Jareth getup, but with a sooty hand puppet,
absolutely amazing.
People forget as well. David was a father at this point. David wasn't unaware to the ways of being a parent, so he was exceptionally good on set. He was again very, very caring and gracious. And remember, this is a guy as well. His character is known for the ball juggling tricks, except for the fact that David couldn't do that to save his life.
Right.
So they had a juggler behind him playing his hands. And you just got all these shots of David, and it would be mid-shot, and they'd have to just throw the ball up in the air, and of course the ball would then crash to the ground, and he'd be like, oh well. And you could see this other guy with his arms wrapped around Bowie. And you think about it, and you said, Dee, as well earlier, the Jabba the Hutt thing. And I always remember from the documentary, the guy who was responsible for the smoke coming out of Jabba's pipe. And he was on camera and he went, yeah, I do the smoke. All I need now is a glass of wine and I'd have the perfect job.
Yeah, right.
And I think about that and I think about, you're a juggler. Yes, okay. Your job is you're going to have your arms wrapped around David Bowie for 3 months. Enjoy.
Sounds all right to me.
I imagine there was a bit of a queue for that job, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, here's the thing as well, and I want to broach this in a delicate way, but obviously, George, you said as well, like David is incredibly visual on the screen. He has this potency to him as well.
Which is very deliberate. It's very deliberate.
Something I just want people to be aware of is that I've found as well several interviews with Jennifer when the film came out. And Jennifer was 16 when the film came out. And these were female interviewers, and several of them said the same type of question, which was, how long did it take you to shoot the ballroom scene? I bet you wished you could have made it longer so you could have spent more time dancing with middle-aged man David Bowie.
Yes.
And I just think, okay, although there are many things to take away from this, the fact that female interviewers at the time were saying the same thing.
Yes, to a teenager.
Again, it feeds into this rock star thing of rocks like Elvis and the teenage girls.
Yeah.
You know, you have it. It's almost, that's why you're right. It feels so natural that a rock star is in this. And David has this unworldly sort of air to him, and he does look as though he's the guy. And I still, and maybe it's just a baldness thing, but I still cannot even quantify how good his hair is.
Oh, it's amazing.
Because it's kind of part short, part long. Just
it's just brilliant, isn't it?
if I could have hair for one day, it would be
Like that, yeah.
I mean, it's an iconic hairstyle, really, isn't it?
The helping hand sequence. This was the hardest shot in the whole thing by all accounts. It was a nightmare. If you there's a very good dedicated DVD or Blu-ray of Labyrinth, and the way they talk, like there's actual footage from the set. The way people are talking about that sequence, it was hateful. It was so difficult to shoot.
I can imagine that because that's a lot of hand actors having to work
25 people.
The hand actors, their hands are protruding through the back of the set, so they can't see what they're doing to coordinate. It took forever.
Yeah.
By all accounts, it took forever to do that shot.
I believe that Jen actually had input into sort of positioning some of the hands and deciding on the faces because she was there. It was easier for her than for anyone else to step in. So she would move the hands and go, right, that's where you need to be for the end of the shot. And they go 1, 2, 3 and then do it. But yeah, it must have been a nightmare.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
These are the things though. When you say as well to people Jim Henson's Creature Workshop, especially in the 80s and 90s, it was this factory of ideas where if you just said it's a puppet, you would be so far off the mark.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Because they do the entire scope of creativity in this film.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Hoggle is probably one of the greatest examples of that. There's so many elements going on in him. The voice, the facial expressions, right?
Yeah.
The people who are twitching all the knobs that are doing the facial expressions. So you buy him as a real creature, as a real character. It's insane. I mean, I find that kind of craft, that very physical craft, when I see it now as a 40-year-old guy, that's as amazing as anything else that's going on. You know, the themes or the fantasy of it. That to me is magic.
It really is. And I'm kind of delighted that although CG it has taken over so much, you have had this slight, not renaissance, but this slight pullback where there's an appreciation for the craft that this sort of work required.
Definitely. There has been a kind of like you say, it's not an entire renaissance as such, because that'll never happen. You know, the genie's out of the bag and CGI is here to stay.
Yeah. And the problem, this sort of work is very expensive, but yeah.
Well, we say that, but I still to this day would say that this was maybe expense on paper at the time and when you're shooting. The problem is with a lot of studios is they only realize at the end of the day how expensive their glorified CG is. Especially when they have to keep patching it up and patching it up. And then it never ends up as good as you think it is.
Yeah, right.
And something like this, again, it goes back to something we all said at the beginning: is that Hoggle is an imperfect person. He's a damaged person. He's a lonely person. He's a broken person, and he doesn't look completely lifelike. But you know what? A damaged, broken person, I can accept a damaged, broken person not looking completely, because it almost makes me feel more for them.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm stunned that when you watch it now, you look at this and you go, we then look to things like Jurassic Park and later films and go, they were huge steps up. And it's like, no, this was a huge step up. It's just because it wasn't considered a huge success at the time. Some of its technical aspects were overlooked.
Were just ignored.
Even little things as well, like visual gags, like the door gag. It's simple things.
Oh, I love it. I love it to bits.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. It's blink and you'll miss it, right? You might not even understand what's going on because, again, the film does that wonderful thing of not standing around and telling you. It doesn't spell it out. It's just there. It's part of the logic of the labyrinth or the illogic of the labyrinth. And it's not just a great visual gag. It feeds into the themes of the whole thing, which is, of course, you cannot. This is it's like a child's logic, right? When you're a child, when you're a very young child, and the reality isn't quite set for you. You don't necessarily know that there isn't a monster under the bed. You don't necessarily know that when you open that door, it will lead to the same place that it usually does. I love that. I love it to bits. It's the scary side of imagination.
It's the scary side, but there's also as well the sort of irrelevance. So, like for instance, the faces in the walls, and when instead of them doing their job, which is being quite scary and intimidating, they're then called out on it, and suddenly they turn into Monty Python.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like Monty Python. And it's one of those things I always thought Python was never comedy aimed at adults. It was comedy aimed at everyone.
Yes.
It was just irrelevant. A lot of people didn't get it. If you get Python, you totally get this. And this was a film made for adults who still can keep in touch with their child self.
Definitely.
And it was also for children who were old enough to realize that the world wasn't perfect. And sometimes things are unfair, and that's just the way it is. And it carries so much meaning to it. And yes, Sarah goes through a journey, and a lot of this is about her journey. But like as a kid, as a boy, I got a lot of this too. Like a lot of this, I felt this as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's one of those beautiful portraits of the way very young imagination works, in that it's not set and it's not prescribed. It can be so many things at once. It can be unfair, it can be cruel, it can be completely capricious and weird. Your own imagination can turn in against you, which it kind of does here.
Yeah, I mean, as much as this is manifestation of Sarah's imagination, it's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
For bad.
It's including the part of her that punishes herself for things, that feels guilty and shame about things. I love, by the way, the line that Bowie gives there, where when she says it's not fair, which is kind of a catchphrase for Sarah, for this younger version of Sarah, before she's sort of annealed and grown up a little bit. He says to her, "You say that so often. I wonder what your basis for comparison is."
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, that's harsh.
It's a rebuttal to "That's not fair" that I've heard variations on in a lot of different works, but man, that's a really great delivery of it.
It's a very parental thing to say in many respects, but the fact that it's coming from within her, the framing of it, makes it so much more than that, because it's her telling herself that.
Yeah. Which is a very odd, but almost, I don't know, almost a healthy way, is your subconscious is telling you, look, you need to grow up. You need to do better. Which is, I kind of wish my conscious would do that. I'd sleep far more if I knew that my brain was trying to help me out with things like this.
On a purely perfunctory level as well, it's a great framing for what imagination can be used for what it does for young people, and why it should be fed, why it should be nurtured, because it allows you to operate in these virtual spaces, these dreamscapes where there are no consequences per se, but you can work things through.
Absolutely.
It's the fantasy of confrontation. It's why I really rail against those. It happens a lot in critics and academia, where a lot of people have a sort of sniffy attitude towards fantasy fiction, where they claim it's just escapism or whatever. And I was like, well, that's nonsense. I mean, I don't even believe that exists. I don't believe there's any created thing that is purely escapist. Almost everything created by humanity is it's a medium of confrontation in some way, shape, or form, and this is overtly, I would say.
There's always going to be, let's face it, sci-fi exists as a kind of reaction to the real world. It's stuff that you would want to happen, you'd dare to happen, you'd hope to happen, you'd fear to happen, played out in a way that you can see what happens in this environment, and at the end of the day, you don't have to go home and live with the consequences. You just close the book.
Yes.
And and because of that, if anything, fantasy, sci-fi, and also those sort of books, they're often braver when it comes to dealing with subjects, because we're too scared or prissy or insecure to want to talk about them ourselves.
Yes, that's it. It's a way. It's a kind of like, it's a way for culture to dream and to have nightmares and to work through those things, the things that it wouldn't necessarily want to confront or work through directly. By the way, you just had Sarah using her the logic that Jareth used on her against Hoggle, reflecting onto Hoggle. He says it's not fair, and she says no, it isn't. But that's the way
life.
it is.
Yeah,
that's the way it is, right? Brilliant.
That's growth. It's her just a little gentle lesson, but she's not needlessly cruel.
No,
at
she
that
isn't.
point.
No, she
She
isn't.
still tempers it with some understanding, and as soon as she sees somebody else, like our lovely voiced elder here, it's again treating with respect, treating with kindness, being polite. Fantastic, and I love these characters.
They're great, aren't they? I mean, just the concept, the the talking hat, and everything, it's brilliant. It's so beautifully put together. I mean, look at him. Look at his face. He's so expressive.
The hat is voiced by the same guy who does Gonzo, or did Gonzo.
Ah, yes, I could definitely hear it.
And the thing is, as well, with these types of films, and I suppose because Muppets was far more prevalent on TV back in the day, if you saw something like this, part of you would wish that one of them would pop up, even though it is its own universe. But because the DNA of Henson is through all of this.
Yes, definitely.
You kind of, if Kermit rocked up, you wouldn't be offended as a kid.
Not at all.
As an adult, you might be a little bit confused, but you know.
No, I mean, Henson work has such a mark to it, doesn't it? It's very distinct. You can tell. You can tell when it's a Henson creation.
You can. Doubly so when Mr. Roz turns up.
Oh, gosh, yes.
In fact, I don't think he actually does a voice now, because he puppeted for Wiseman, but it's a different actor doing the voice, so that's interesting that he doesn't seem to do a voice in this.
I'm not sure.
I think he might have done some background noises, but I don't see anything. I don't see anything major. Yeah,
like specific. He wasn't a specific character. There's this that recreation of the shot from the beginning when we're panning through Sarah's room and we see the toy labyrinth, the toy hedge maze.
Oh, and the voice for the old man was Michael Hordern.
What? No way, Paddington.
Which it's obviously he was a very, very sort of. I mean, he was very well known, not just for his voice, but for his presence in a lot of stuff at the time.
Oh my God, Michael
Hordern! Just the fact that he would be in this. I wish there was a shot of him on set, though. That would have been so. I know it wouldn't have happened, but it would have been so nice.
He had a bit of a penchant for this kind of material, I mean, obviously he was in the very famous M.R. James short story adaptation, Whistle and I'll Come to You.
Mm.
He was in the Brian Sibley radio play adaptation of The Lord of the Rings from
Oh,
the night.
wow.
Yeah, he was. I think he was Gandalf, wasn't he?
Yeah, Gandalf, and he was badgering Mr. Toad.
Yes, he was. Yes. Oh my God. Oh, legend. Absolute legend.
Absolutely.
This might be the first Fluffenbusters where I think we have about 16 spin-off projects already planned. Thank you, guys.
All planned. Yeah. They just keep going and going and going. I'm sure there'll be more by the end. I was always disturbed as a kid by these things on the ends of the sticks. There's something very fetal about them.
Yes.
They look really horrific, and they're wet, and they're kind of like, they look newborn to me, and that's always kind of freaked me out. There's a natal quality to them which I really don't like. It's like,
They are the most horrific thing all the way up until the point where their operators then end up hidden behind the hedges, and so you just see them popping around on sticks, and then they just look hilariously stupid. It's great.
Love Ludo. Who doesn't? Ludo is often people's favorite character.
So a friend of mine had an interview once at the Creature Workshop. He was very much, I mean, he has done a lot of creature stuff. I think he even lectures, or he's the main lecturer at Bournemouth Arts College in the sort of puppetry and animation department now. But when he went over there, I think that Ludo was one of the things that was on display.
Wow.
And of course, you see it, and people used to go. They used to try and get interviews at Henson Workshop because it was like Warhammer World for Jim Henson. Everything was on display. So yes, you'd have your interview, but then you get to see all the stuff. And Ludo as well. So this film was a royal premiere.
Right. Okay.
And Prince Charles and Princess Diana attended, and there are shots of Princess Diana like just gently caressing Ludo's face, and it's lovely.
How bizarre. How bizarre. What a beautiful character as well. I know we keep saying it, but he's so well realized.
It is.
He's so well realized. You know him. The minute he starts talking and the minute he expresses, you know who this character is. He's got that sort of innocent brute quality about him.
I was trying to think, again, Henson, as much as we do tend to think of them as puppets or masks, they had a real thing for these big guy suits. Not just, and because I think it was Cuddles in the original Muppets, the big monster.
Of course.
Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
Snuffleupagus, yeah.
Big Bird, of course. And they make these huge suits that are just, you stop thinking of them as suits, even though you know.
You just don't think, it's a creature, it's a monster, it's yeah. And thematically, of course, I mean, Ludo occurs at a point when she's been kind of abandoned, and when she needs someone, she needs something to rely on, and that's kind of what Ludo is.
He's another child as well for her to look after.
Yeah, of course.
And again, her accepting him, I mean, this might be reading way too much into this, but her accepting him is another path on her journey to her accepting her baby stepbrother, which...
Yes.
Because again, once I read it as stepbrother and not brother, then it made it a lot easier to get my head around. Because again, mother's gone, father's with a woman that she clearly doesn't bond with.
Right.
She probably wants to be with the mother who has this lifestyle, who has this rock star boyfriend, who, by the way, in the events of the film, before the film, she had a slow dance with this boyfriend, Jared.
Interesting.
And there was the comment afterwards of, well, he joked that if somebody sees us, they might take a picture and put two and two together. So that was going on in her brain at the time as well.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff.
And of course, you'd be forgiven for not noticing half of this stuff because most of it's implied. It's very quick and symbolic, and it's background detail, right? It's environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
As a child, I wouldn't have realized it. Growing up as a young man, I wouldn't have considered it. And I'll be brutally honest, I wouldn't have. But because of the fandom and the people that I've spent the last decade or so chatting to and getting a better understanding of, I at least have an inkling of some of the stuff that's going on here.
Yeah. That's brilliant because it layers complexity into Sarah as well. I mean, there's a tendency to take Sarah as kind of simplistic. It's she's a kind of a brat and she needs to grow up and she needs to take responsibility and blah 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 blah. And it's just way too didactic, isn't it? It doesn't work given the ambiguities that are introduced in the film. But that's the way a lot of critics seem to see it.
She also has all of this in her head,
Yes.
so she's got a lot more going on. If you've got an entire world inside your head just made up of your thoughts and ideas and fears, then there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But of course, that's who the viewership is as well. I mean, like any kid of the 80s watching this will understand this stuff because you were kind of enjoying to have an imagination, right? That was just it's the way we played. I don't know whether it's still true, whether children do still play this way, or whether they're enjoying to play in this imaginative way where they create worlds, and they're lost in those worlds for hours and hours and hours, where they can be different people and they can be monsters and they can be creatures or they can be something else. It's extolling the virtues of imaginative play, and not only for very young children either, but for teenagers and for older people.
Yeah. That's a great bit with the rocks. That's from Bowie's face disappearing out of the rocks and then Jareth in the background.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'm lost in the puppets now. I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of just like, oh wow. I mean, this is an interesting scene because it occurs without Sarah. And it's one of the sequences in which Jareth is a little bit more sinister.
He's the, would you say it's the more real interpretation of him? Even because it's weird because depending on how you view this film, I mean, like the original book adaptation said that, or implied more strongly that this was a dream, and yet at the same time, you're seeing shots without Jennifer's character there, without Sarah there. So it's like, is she imagining this going on in the background without her?
Yes, is she? Yeah. Is this like a conversation she's having in her head? Again, which is, all part and parcel of the way imagination works. When you spin stories, that's what happens, right? The characters go off and do their own things. But it is Jareth that is most antagonistic, I think.
Yes. And I'd say at this point as well, still, like the first time, as I think you said, George, like when Jareth first speaks to Sarah, he's very much trying to be the parent or the voice of authority, and he does tell her to go back to her room and play with her toys. He is treating her like a girl. Now he's treating her like his enemy.
Yeah,
he's offering different things at different points. I don't know if the longing is there yet. It's more the fact that he's enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Even though he's a bit prissy that it's not ending as quickly as he'd like, which is odd because I'm sure part of him wants to keep it going as well.
Oh yeah, I think that's part of it towards the end, that's part of the seduction because he knows that when she's worked through all of this, his part has ended. He has this projection of her imagination. Once she's worked through this stuff, he's kind of surplus to requirements. And of course, she is then more powerful than him as well. She has authority over him then. She has control over him.
Yeah, because she creates a reality in her room. She brings all the denizens of his world into her world, but he's not allowed in.
That's it. I mean, it's the realization ultimately that it's her world anyway. It always was from the very beginning. Oh, this sequence is so weird. A lot of people cite this, the fiery sequence with like a strange moment. Just a moment that kind of doesn't fit with the rest of the film. I kind of love it, I'll be honest. I love these weird creatures.
Do you know the background to some of this? Because this is the one element that did have a strong impact on the film for a few reasons. Yes.
Wow.
So when they were sort of creating this, these creatures were going to be called the Wild Things.
Okay.
And they were let's face it, they were very much a nod to Where the Wild Things Are
Of course.
by Sendak. Well, the thing is that although Sendak knew Henson, he looked at this and he looked at one of his stories and he was like, this is a ripoff of one of my books.
Oh.
And he was not happy at all.
Oh.
And so these got changed to the Fireys. I think there were elements of this that were then changed, which is why this is out of place.
Yes.
But you'll see at the end of the film as well, I think there is a credit that says Jim Henson acknowledges his debt to the works of Maurice Sendak.
Wow.
They settled out of court. This was a court thing.
I did not know that. Wow.
And if you think about it, you look at Ludo as well, and you think, yeah, okay, I can suddenly see where there's similarities in more than one character.
Oh,
and
definitely.
these Fireys, as they were then called, were, I think, almost like a story cul-de-sac that was just left off at everything else. The only thing I found mildly amusing is one of the voices here is Danny John Jules.
What? No way.
And I know that there is another performer, I think, in here who then also ended up in Red Dwarf. But yeah, it was just when I heard his singing voice as well, I was like, that's familiar.
It is a strange sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere and it doesn't really fit. It's strange. You can sort of chop it out and it doesn't impact at all.
Yeah.
And they are the one set of creatures that are not being controlled by Jareth, and yet they kind of wish her harm, which makes it even weirder when one of them pops up right at the end, because it's like, look, you weren't being kind of nasty because you were being forced to. You were being nasty because that's just your way.
Yeah,
but again, I do wonder if there was maybe a whole different thread with this that we never got to see.
Quite possibly.
And I just want to say about Sendak's reaction, because Where the Wild Things Are is actually in her room at the start. It's under panning shots in the foreground.
Ah, yes.
And if you want to get really weird as well, when they finally did get around to making a Where the Wild Things Are movie, Henson did the puppets.
Brilliant. I mean, my God, it's so weird. It's so weird.
And I believe Toby Froud was involved with that as well. So
oh my God. So
and in fact Toby was, I think,
Brilliant.
like one of the senior people on the Dark Crystal remake.
Yes,
I mean, there's so many circles with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
By the way, guys, I mean, if you haven't seen the Dark Crystal series, what's it called? Age of Resistance?
Yes.
So good. It's so good, and it's a crying shame that it'll never be finished.
Yeah.
Oh, that killed me. That did. That it will never. There won't ever be another series of it.
Was it just too much for people to
It's
take
too
on
expensive.
board?
I think too expensive to produce it. It was so difficult. It was so difficult to put together. But what we do have, that first series, is some of the best work to come out of Henson Studios. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Is it a case as well that we've sort of lost the art of doing this without it being some monumental effort?
Quite possibly.
I mean,
Yeah.
the problem is the downfall of so many Henson projects has been the expense. I mean, that's why Farscape got canned, because it was so expensive doing the puppet work they had in the effects. As good as it was, that has an expense that just became too great to justify.
I always found this really frightening when I was a kid. The Bog of Eternal Stench. The notion that, like, you would smell bad forever.
On one hand, it's something that a child would come up with. On the other hand, there's very real horror. Add to that as well that it is not too distantly removed from Bog of Despair, Never-Ending Story.
Yes, the Swamp of Eternal Sadness. Yes.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, the one person who loved this whole sequence was Prince Charles, who said it was his favorite part. Of the film.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, again, maybe reading too much into this, but what is a consistent fear of teenagers that they smell, that they are not socially acceptable, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of manifested here.
It's horror, but it's not. It's
Yeah,
like a parent wouldn't have any problem with this whatsoever. My folks didn't have any problem with this film. They just thought it was a bit silly. I do think the Bowie stuff kind of just went completely over their heads. But they just saw this as like a nice, simple, childish adventure.
Funny fantasy film,
Well,
right?
it works on different levels for different folks, and that's quite wonderful.
It is part of its genius, actually. It's
Yeah.
completely polysemic, isn't it? Like, its target audience obviously loved it. I mean, like, I loved it as a kid. Almost everyone I know who's my age loved it to bits and loves it still. But as adults, wow, is there so much going on here? I mean, it's so complex. I'm going to have the introduction of Sir Didymus in a moment, one of my favorite characters. Don Quixote. He's basically the dog
Yes.
version of Don Quixote.
He is.
There he
and-
is.
there's something just so proud and noble.
Oh, he's great, isn't he? He's so like, well, I mean, like he's quixotic, isn't he? He's like the very like definition of that made manifest. He's brave, but like without direction. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I love him, and I love the puppet. I love like how he looks, like that dog thing that he's got going on, that foxy quality.
Yeah,
I mean, he's probably the most Muppet character in this entire film.
Yeah,
You could put him in a Muppet Show episode and he would fit perfectly.
yeah.
But he still fits with the rest of the characters, even though he's so drastically different because he's so fully realized.
I love the way he just wiggles his head from side to side when he
Yeah.
when he says it like a proud proclamation.
Yeah.
And it's I'll tell you what, the thing that really sells it is the ADR that they add in afterwards, where he's just on the puppets on the dog, absolutely belting along, and the actors having a blast, just coming up with so many random lines.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I'd love to see if anyone has ever done, especially from something like maybe the more furry community, done a humanized version of a Didymus costume.
Of Sir Didymus. Oh, I'm sure they must have. Someone must have gone to a convention as Sir Didymus.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If nothing else, I mean, he looks great, doesn't he? I mean, like
He
the
really
costume
does.
that he's wearing is fantastic. It's so colourful.
It'd be a great one to do, though, if no one has already.
I wish you could find out the backstory for his character. I'm sure it's available
Yeah.
somewhere, but
I'm
how
sure.
he ended up here, because
Like in the swamp, protecting the bridge.
because nobody else is with him apart from his steed, and that must be an incredibly lonely experience. And again,
Ambrosius.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yet all these characters again have these fatal flaws, and Sarah not once judges them.
No, because they're parts of her. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that she's gathering them as her party, in the fantasy quest style. But she's also bringing them together as parts of herself. She's reconciling.
Oh, we need to do some sort of D&D night where we all play characters from this
Oh my
party.
god! Yeah, I'm so in.
I'm doing Ludo, absolutely.
Dibs on Sir Didymus. God, he'd be the strongest fighter of all of them, though, wouldn't he? He'd be like a paladin, wouldn't he? He'd have to be
He
a
would-
paladin. He would be
he would-
insane.
Yeah.
He would. The problem would be stopping him from fighting.
Yeah.
Because he would be like Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. He would just go at something 50 times his
Yes.
side.
The
But it's-
flaw of his character would be he would want to fight everything. Just head on. No subtlety whatsoever.
Yeah,
They-
he's basically your paladin / berserker combo.
Yeah.
chaotic good. I love that the different parts, so as you said, the different parts of her personality, these characters, they all accept each other almost
Yeah.
instantly. Like it's almost like they feel the connection.
Yeah, there's a
They feel
moment
more of a
conflict
whole.
Sometimes there's like a moment of conflict, and then they come together. You see it here with Ludo and Didymus. Like they become. I mean, they essentially become like one unit, don't they?
Yeah.
And just when think you've seen everything, then Ambrosia like pops up, and it's just like, and there's obviously two versions. There's the one that is clearly the dog, and then there's one that is a distant relative of the dog from Fraggle Rock, and you can just tell.
Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, this is great as well. Ludo and the Rocks. This is a sweet thing.
I know in the UK, yes, like the Muppet Show is a universal thing, but did the US have a lot of Fraggle Rock, or was that a very UK thing?
I don't know. I don't know what the the pervasiveness of Fraggle Rock is.
That's a good question. Because Fraggle Rock is it's a very
It was ITV.
It's ITV.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse Keeper was a Scottish actor.
Yep.
Mackay, I think it was.
Yep.
I mean, the voices were Fraggle, sure. You had a lot of American voices in there, but yeah, that's a good question.
Well, it does seem around this era that like Henson Studios was just targeting the UK really heavily. I mean, The Storyteller, I think, was produced largely in the UK, and as you can
Yeah.
see, I mean, like the cast of The Storyteller, it's almost universally British actors. You've got John Hurt as the Storyteller. Sean Bean turns up at one point. Just a whole.
Who did the second season?
Oh, Michael Gambon. It's Michael Gambon.
That was it. Yeah.
The Greek Myths one.
Oh, wow.
Which is sadly, it's only 3 episodes. It's really good. It's really good, but there's only 3 episodes of that one.
Yeah, The Storyteller is one of. It's one of those shows that if you put it on for someone, they'll be enraptured with it.
Oh, it's so beautiful, honestly. It's one of those once a year, every year watches for me. And of course, they're universal stories. It's the Grimm fairy tales. They're so beautiful. They're so moving and brilliant. Personal favorite, The Soldier and Death.
Yeah.
Oh, love that story. Love it to bits.
And they're so unvarnished as well. They're grimmer than a lot of people we would have heard those tales before then.
Oh, they're dark. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, The Soldier and Death. The ending of that always gets me. It always gets me when the soldier who captures Death. Death is afraid of him, so will never come for him, and he wends his way up to heaven, and they won't let him in, and he wends his way down to hell, and they won't let him in, and in the end, he just has to go back to the world, to Earth, and he wanders still because Death will never come for him. It's so beautiful, so sad, so melancholy.
There we go, folks. Coming to a Fluffenbusters sub channel near you soon. Fluffenbuster Shorts.
Yeah. Oh, so up.
Where we watch a 25-minute show and then start crying uncontrollably because we will.
Yeah. Snow White, of course, occurring here.
Yeah.
But with a slightly different valence here.
Yeah.
It's so weird that I love this. This is where it gets its most adult, I think. And nearest the knuckle when it comes to the sexual awakening stuff.
See, I think Labyrinth is a really good film to pair with Legend in that regard. They both have there's an innocence about things, but also this, they say there's a question of coming of age and sexuality coming to the fore. It's fascinating.
It really is. And again, for this to occur in this kind of film in the 1980s that's aimed at this kind of audience, ostensibly a child audience, it's pretty, I mean, wow, it's pushing boundaries.
No, I was just saying, like all the best stories, it's trusting the audience. It's not talking down.
Absolutely.
It's presenting a story that's layered, it's complex.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just before everything gets too intense, I'm going to say something that people don't realize is that you've accepted the increasing complexity of this young girl's imagination. The beginning of the film, when she's running up and down that long passage, there's no background, there's no light, there's no skylight, there's nothing. This is bare bones world. Her world is getting more and more intense.
Yeah.
The sets are getting lusher.
Yeah.
Everything is getting almost more real or more vivid to her.
Yes.
And so that's so if you were ever to do it with a double bill of something like Legend keeps that intensity in terms of the visuals all the way through. So Legend would be probably the second film you would use, because this now is only starting to get into its full, like, you have the depth of field, you have these beautiful sets, you have the smoke, you have everything, and of course you're about to go into the scene where the musical doll as well, which is shown in the bedroom in the beginning. She then embodies this facet. Right. Can I now say my thing? Because this is important to me.
Yes.
Go on. Yep.
Right. Because you guys are slightly ahead of me, I imagine. So when I first saw Sarah in that ball gown, I felt really odd. And let me clarify, because I was a child watching this, and I empathized with Sarah as a child. And the moment that my child eyes saw Sarah in that dress, I saw her as an adult.
Yeah.
and suddenly I couldn't connect with her anymore. It was like I once had two babysitters, like me and my sister, when we were growing up, and just as the second one was leaving, they were sisters, and as they were leaving, they both decided to come visit, and they came with their boyfriends.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we didn't know the boyfriends, and we hadn't seen the older babysitter in a year or two. And it was like seeing two grown adults, and we
Yes.
were just shy, embarrassed, and we couldn't talk to them. And it was such a shame, but it was because that disconnect,
Yeah.
because the person that I trusted as a child is now being shown to me as a woman. And
Yeah.
if I'm a kid and I get that, then I'm sure adults watching this must have had a very different interpretation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I mean, I know so many women for whom this was part of their sexual awakening, this sequence. I know quite a lot of guys it was as well. I mean, this I remember being very young and seeing the sequence and being fascinated by Bowie in this sequence and not really having context why, not understanding why. But he embodies so much here. He's what she wants. He is this idealization of the romantic stranger, but he's also incredibly threatening. There's a darkness to him as well. There's a mystery to him. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and I don't think he ever looks better. By the way, he looks amazing in this sequence. The blue in his hair.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that to bits.
In the book, there's a lot more that they're pouring at her. They're literally grabbing her.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even notice until we just seen it just now. There's literally some sort of weird phallic creature that comes out of a box.
Yes,
I was like,
out of a box. Yeah,
holy shit, that's more on the nose than I thought it would be.
it's pretty. Yeah, and of course it's La Belle et la Bête, right? This is French cinema. This is romantic French cinema.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, the masks are wonderful in their grotesqueness.
Yeah.
With all the finery draped across everyone. It's a wonderful contrast.
Well, in essence, they're the goblins, aren't they? In essence, they're the goblins, but they're elevated to a more adult fear and a more adult imagination. It's brilliant. It's so beautiful.
They are. They're framed as well like the goblins at the very beginning. They're just goblins playing humans for a laugh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love this sequence with the garbage dump, and the garbage dump is formed of objects that she has sentimental attachment to. How utterly! I mean, there's a kind of harsh lesson in this. I mean, a really dark lesson, which is sometimes you do have to put away things. Sometimes you do have to put away the childish obsessions and move on.
I feel personally attacked by that statement.
But it is here. I mean, it is part of what,
It is, yeah.
Well, it is also as well a reaction. So she has just rejected the overly adult elements of this tale, let's just say.
Yeah.
And then she goes to a place full of lost and broken things.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, where we see Hoddle again and the lost and broken part of herself.
Yeah.
But the idea as well that she's then told, oh, you're a kid. Oh, so you like that. That's your thing. That's what you like.
Yes. And it's all material.
It's all material. And the old ladies are carrying all of this. They're carrying all of their luggage, garbage, whatever on their back.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that's what they would expect. Well, she is maybe telling herself, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should become this thing that only just moves around with just the safe stuff of me being a kid with me. Or there's so much. It's like
there's so much, and they're weighed down by it. They're pressed down. It's torturous, but they can't put it down. It's something they have to carry. Yeah, I love it. I love it to bits. This was her safe space once upon a time, not very long ago.
And the thing, as you mentioned, George, at the beginning as well, that this isn't the moment where she suddenly goes, I'm never holding my childhood items close to me ever again.
No.
I'm not, this is not her rejecting her childhood. She just rejected her adulthood. It's, I'm going to accept both my childhood and my adulthood on my own terms.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be controlled by it. I'm not going to be smothered by it anymore. And I'm not allowing it to become the foci of all my emotions, which she does at the beginning, obviously. I mean, one of the reasons she gets so upset is because one of her toys has been taken. You know, her safe space, her sanctuary has been trespassed upon.
By the way, I just realized there is what looks like an album cover that says slashing machine on it. And it had the tunnel boring machine on the cover, which
Brilliant.
is just, it's incredible how much
Great.
stuff. Yeah, this bedroom scene needs to be studied a bit closer because there's so much stuff in
There's
there.
a lot going on.
I bet there's also there's got to be a nod or a joke. There's got to be a Kermit in here somewhere.
Oh, there must be like a Muppet or something knocking about somewhere. There must be.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
I love the characterization of the trash woman as well. The absolute obsession
Yes.
with the material and the way she's kind of imposed. There's something very like darkly maternal about that character, isn't there? She seems to be operating almost out of an assumption that she cares for Sarah and that she knows what she wants and what's best for her, and she's pressing it in all around her. You know, it's almost like a narcissistic mother. You know, one who will never let their children grow up and flee the nest or be their own people.
She's the very opposite of the stepmother who wants her to have adult things like a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It's really creepy seeing a little picture of David Bowie on the mirror.
Yeah.
It's like you blink and you'll miss it, but it's there, and you just think,
Yeah, it's there. So David Bowie exists in this universe, right?
and yeah, they've shoved the wizard, like the Wizard of Oz is literally in the back of the frame.
Yeah. And of course, there's the Goblin King, right? The statue on the right.
Yeah. And it's great that the whole. I mean, yeah, it's her realization, but she doesn't have to put away childish things completely, but she also doesn't have to rush to embrace adulthood.
Yeah,
She can take her own time. She can do it in her own way.
she doesn't have to be defined by these things.
Yes.
She doesn't have to be contained by them. There's more. There's more for her here than just that room and those assumptions.
I will say both Spielberg and Lucas worked through this idea many, many times in different projects, especially like there's Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And it's very much the whole idea of somebody, you know, choosing to keep his childhood items or get rid of them and just become an adult. And yeah, these guys clearly wanted to say, look, I've got some deep rooted fears.
Can I? Yeah.
Can I just sponsor a load of media projects and work through them slowly, please?
And work through them artistically, please. That would be nice. I love Didymus. I love Didymus here. Just like, shrieking, let me in. You know, open up. No subtlety at all.
This is all her personal armor now. She has this strength, and it's enough. I would say it's enough. If we think that Hoggle is part of her, then it is enough. The other pieces of her, it's enough that confidence to pull him back to her.
Yeah.
Because it's her story. She's physically pulling this character, no matter what the character thinks, pulling him back to her because that's her whole.
Yes, and having the equanimity and the consideration at this point to forgive him, to forgive that part of her that would have betrayed herself out of fear.
If that's the case, I'm looking at her sort of waistcoat. There's an element of armor about it.
I meant to say, I do love her waistcoat. It's
really cool, right? Another scary element, actually, this big clockwork machine.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, the biggest thing Henson ever did.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It is very, it's big, isn't it? It's unwieldy, that is.
Yeah.
Because it's a big old practical item, and you just think...
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, only they could go. So we've got this really big, like robot puppet.
Yeah.
creature thing, and it's like, oh great, well that's going to be a challenge. Oh, by the way, it's operated by a Muppet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The only thing that slightly falls down is that people in the background keep brushing against those spikes, and they're clearly very soft rubber because they keep kind of going boing in the background. But yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I did a quick check, and Jim Henson passed away 4 years after this,
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
which is 1990, which is he was only 53, which is just you just think of
What a loss, right?
When this
Yeah.
film came out, it was a flop, and there's no getting around it. It was a flop. And he was genuinely heartbroken by this.
Yeah.
In fact, it's been said by his family that it was the thing that affected him the most.
Really?
However, by the time he passed, he did recognize that both this and Dark Crystal had become cultish and that they did have support and love, and it was appreciated. And that was something that Brian wanted to make sure people knew, is that he didn't pass away thinking he'd failed in this. He passed away going, it didn't hit its target audience, but it was still very much a loved piece of work.
Oh,
and
to
yes,
the point
it
where-
was a
Yeah.
huge shock when he passed away because it was very unexpectedly.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. But yes.
yeah. It was just one of those things that just occurred to me as I was looking at it. I was just thinking, when? Because I remember I saw recently because it was May. In May, he passed away, and there was a post I remember seeing a few weeks ago about it.
I didn't know that it flopped that badly, though. I had no idea that it was that big of a failure.
Yeah,
I mean, given the amount of work that's gone into it and the obvious passion and love, that must have hurt. That must have hurt.
absolutely.
But then again, that wasn't unusual in the 1980s, was it?
No.
I mean, like
No.
lots of
Yeah.
films that have come to be considered absolute like icons of cinema. Things like The Thing, like Carpenter's The Thing,
Blade Runner.
right? That Blade Runner, huge flops.
Yeah.
Huge flops. The Thing was absolutely excoriated when it came out.
Then again, the thing came out, I believe it was either 2 weeks before, I think it was 2 weeks after E.T. came out.
Right.
I mean, yeah, there's
Right.
that. Yeah,
In terms of timing, which alien would you want to go see at the cinema?
Bad timing. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, don't worry, you also had things like Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah. Amazing.
I mean, anything basically with Russell Carpenter, it's just.
Yeah.
But at this time as well, because of Lucas and Spielberg, these films were getting made. Now you still have an element of this kind of sponsorship, but it tends to be from the likes of Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe Ryan Coogler, or maybe the few directors who still have some power. The problem is that when a lot of those projects are made, they struggle a little bit more. They tend to get pushed through the studio system and become far more sterile.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. There's a very definite format, isn't there? There's a prescription for these things. And it's...
I was going to say, it doesn't also help that we're in a situation where so many films don't get a chance even to go to cinemas.
Yeah.
I keep seeing films I would be all about seeing on a big screen, and then it's like an announcement. It's going to Netflix. It's going to Amazon Prime. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, do you know that one of the biggest areas in which sponsorship for unique films is still going ahead, and that is actresses who get their first big role. So this is my almost obligatory mention of a Sydney Sweeney in this, but Sydney Sweeney and the young lady who was in the Twilight movies as well, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Like
General Ortega, all these young actresses have.
They are pushing as producers to get stuff done, and while some of it might be a bit bland, some of it is also quite challenging, especially when it comes to obviously the perceptions of women in film, and they tackle more interesting characters. So there is still that stuff being made. It's just in a slightly different format in different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ambrosia, by the way, is spending this entire scene just going absolutely ballistic.
This is great, isn't it? I love this sequence. I mean, you've got Sir Didymus, the actor playing Sir Didymus, shrieking those lines. It's so much fun. I love the fact that he just can't. He just like surrender is not in his vocabulary.
Not at
The
all.
notion that he could fail is just not there at all. I love it.
Would
Yeah.
he represent her stubbornness?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
Or
Yeah.
would he represent as well a bit of her honor?
He's a kind
Yeah.
of a mixture of both, isn't he? He's her courage, he's her honor, but he's also that element of her that just bolts. It just doesn't think before it does things. It just does them.
And the fact that they've got chickens running around just adds to the chaos. It must have been
So
crazy
great.
on set. Oh, and I should also add as well, they do have another character. They have a little black cat that pops
Yes,
up.
I
And that's
noticed
because
that.
she has the poster for the play Cats in her room.
Right. God, the detail. It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant.
So the one thing that she doesn't have in her room, which at this point does start to become quite clear, is there is a bit of an element of both Warhammer Fantasy and 40k, because the idea of using smaller goblins as cannonballs,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a snotling cannon, right?
and it's just like, that's so sweet. And the fact that when they miss, the thing is stuck in the wall going, yeah, that was a bit painful.
Yeah. I hit something right. Yeah.
Again, an elaborate set, right? I mean, this is all moving
Yeah.
and it's all animated. It's crazy.
Animated, a complete environment. I mean, no
Yeah.
wonder this probably struggled to make its budget back, because it's all there.
I was going to say, yeah, looking at it now, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot. This is the big action sequence, right?
And I have to say, one thing I'm glad that you mentioned that Henson knew how much people loved this, or were starting to love it before he passed away. But
Yeah.
I do quite appreciate how in the last, I don't want to say 15 years, because I remember when Labyrinth finally hit DVD and it got a really nice it had got a nice 2-disc edition. There was that version which came in a not quite a slipcase, but it had a nice little art book. They did the same thing for Dark Crystal. But it's continued, and it had really nice extras on it. It's getting a new Blu-ray release later this year.
Oh, is it? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, all the anime have gotten the rights to it, of all things, and they're doing it as one of their nice collector's editions. Same thing for Dark Crystal.
Okay. I do remember it was released as they were released as a 2-pack, weren't they? At one point, you had like the sister films, the Dark Crystal and this.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got both the initial DVD releases around here.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at the time I was working in a bookshop, and I got a discount, so I couldn't not, But Labyrinth has also had more stuff done to it. I mean, I remember Riverhorse put out quite a well-regarded board game for it.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure if they still have the rights to it, but it was a really... I think they did a kit crowdfunder for it, and there's a really lavish version of... There's a base game, and there's a deluxe version of it, but it's full of really nice miniatures of all the characters.
Oh, right.
So
I mean, I know there's always been talk of expanding the universe, and I know there's comics, aren't there? There's comics and there's novelizations and whatnot. But there's been talk of like a series of of another film. I mean, my fear for that is that they will inadvertently undo some of the subtlety and the ambiguity of this work by trying to explain too much, trying to make it too literal,
That is always the danger of wanting to go back to the well. I mean, I'm as guilty as anyone of wanting to have lots of material in my favorite franchises, but sometimes just having something be singular, be its own thing.
We talked about this with some of the recent remakes. So, at the time of recording, Running Man, I think, is going to be uploaded in 45 minutes. There we go, to the channel. But the problem with the remake of that is that they tried to add too much to the world and they lose the focus. And when we were talking about that, we realized exactly the same thing happened with RoboCop. Exactly the same thing happened with Total Recall. It's not that the film completely failed. It's that they, through well-meaning, they wanted to repeat what had been done before, but they also
Right.
wanted to add more. And the problem is you then add up with too much. So
Yes.
if they did this film as a remake, then I guarantee you would have all the elements of this, all the callbacks, but then you would have to have a redemption arc for Jared, and
Yep.
and he would have to fight a bigger evil.
There would be an explanation as
Yeah.
to what he is and where he comes from. This is interesting. I always love this, where she has to leave them behind. She has to do this on her own.
Do you feel she's made peace with herself?
Yes, I think that's it.
Yeah.
For instance, she knows those elements of her psyche are there when she needs them.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when she needs them. Yeah,
Which is almost the theme for the latter part of the film, isn't it? They're there
Yeah.
when they need her.
that's it. I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it? The MC Escher stuff. I love this.
Oh yeah.
It's so weird. Love it to bits.
And for those who don't know as well, the Bowie walking underneath and then coming up,
Yeah.
that was a practical.
It was a practical effect. It's not a puppet.
Yeah.
It's not like they actually put him in a harness, didn't they? And
Yep.
swung him up.
I mean, there are obviously lots of other bits, and also as well for the lighting guy, Alex. So he would have had the challenge of making sure that there was no one direction for any of the lights.
Uh-huh.
Subtle stuff that just throws you, and also lighting certain elements in a flat way or in a deep way. It's an incredibly rich sequence, and of course, it allows for another bit of David singing.
Yes, of course, which is always good. I love what he's doing here as well, where he's telling her, I am you, effectively. I am part of you. I can be cruel just as you can be because I am you.
Yeah.
And part of you kind of wants this. I love his offer here as well. Live without the sunlight, live without your heartbeat, live in your imagination. Live here.
It's a heady prospect.
What would you imagine if she'd said yes?
Oh God, I don't
What
know.
would that be the result of her in the real world?
God, who knows? Who knows, right? Maybe becoming a darker version of herself, turning
Yeah.
more insular, turning more obsessive,
I
not
think
ever breaking out of childhood.
Or not even waking up?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
becoming Snow
Yeah.
White, effectively, right? Asleep forever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, who doesn't understand the pull of that, the desire for that, to live in dreams, to live in fantasy forever?
Oh, it's so many times, and I'm hoping that anyone who listens to this doesn't take offense here, but I think you guys both mentioned earlier on anyway, we always, when we talk about like great times, we end up talking about the period where we were kids,
Of course.
where we didn't have to worry about real life. And the worst thing that happened to us is we didn't get that toy, or we didn't get that present, or we didn't get that thing. But we didn't have to worry
Yeah.
that food was on the table. Stuff just happened for us because we were kids. And it's like, yeah, there's an element of comfort in that. It's why,
Yes.
unfortunately, it's harped on so much. Oh, how great the 80s were, by people who were
Yeah.
kids in the 80s and didn't have the financial hardships of adults in the 80s.
Yes.
Whereas people who were adults in the 80s are like, thank goodness we don't have interest rates of 16.5%.
Exactly. In any objective sense, the 80s were awful in the
Yes.
UK. They were just awful on like every level. But of course, those of us who were children only remember being children.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love this. The dream is falling apart. The fantasy is crumbling because she's waking up.
And she's having the courage to do it as well. She's prioritized
Yeah.
art and family above
Mhm.
all these temptations.
Yeah. And I love him here as well. I love the fact that he's so ambiguous. He's like, I am the antagonist, but I'm the lover, I'm the guide, I'm everything all at once.
This is his owl suit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like he's even got what looks like the bones. Yeah.
The bones. Yeah.
Yeah. It's another great bit of costuming.
I've got to say it. Sorry. Anyway, because it's the thing that none of us are mentioning. So the cod piece.
Right. Okay.
The cod piece apparently was Jim's idea,
Right.
and it was an idea of the fact that there is an element of sexuality to his character. Also, as well, there's an element of show because that was a thing that guys did.
Yeah.
Along with high heels that people have forgotten about, but that was the thing guys used to wear because they just wanted to improve their height. So this is a vain. He looks like a rock star. He looks incredible. He looks amazing. But also as well, he's pimped himself out to look so important, and she's realizing that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She, if anything, she looks more like a child in this moment than in any other part in the movie. And it's because of that she's so strong.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't even get angry. She never does.
No. It's exactly what she says. It's this final line: "You have no power over me," and that means that you don't control my emotions anymore. They're mine now. And it's this beautiful, beautiful work of reconciliation.
Yeah, it's a wonderful performance from Connolly because you just believe it. It's an unbelievable performance.
It's so sincere. It's brilliant.
There's a little moment, but I think as well, because we've seen a couple of films by her recently. I mean, especially Dark City.
Of course, I forget. Of course.
But she's gone through such a journey as an actress.
Yeah.
And she has like as well in perception and in the way that she's been treated, in the way that she has then become like forged her career forward. And you see stuff with her now, and it's incredible to think the wealth of stuff that she's done. But it started so early.
Yeah.
We watched Battle Angel Alita as well, and that's a different side to her completely.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But to think that she started so goddamn young, and so, I mean, with such complex, brilliant material as well. I mean, my God, what a gift! What an amazing thing.
And she beat a lot of actresses who would become very well known. She beat a lot of other talent to get this role, and I believe
she was totally unknown at this point, right? Totally unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was probably a good couple of years younger than a lot of them, but she just embodied this spirit.
Yeah. I love this. I love this sequence so much when she says, where it's again, the temptation would have been to make it as though she'd put away the childish things.
Yes.
But that's not it. That's not it. She acknowledges that, yes, sometimes it's important to focus on other things, that there's a wider world out there and a wider world in her, but she will always need them and need that imaginative element of herself.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. I love it to bits. It's not binary. I mean, the temptation, particularly now. I mean, I know it makes me sound like an old man. I know, but particularly now, if it were remade or if there were a sequel or a series, the temptation would be to make it much more binary.
Yeah. And the way she phrases it, she still needs them from time to time to know they're there.
From time to time. Yeah.
But at the same time, she's removing certain items. She's removing as well, like some of the elements of adulthood that she doesn't want.
She doesn't want, yes. So she's learning.
Yeah.
And the important thing is as well, she doesn't want it right now. So it would probably come back, but just
maybe later.
In when she's ready for
Not
it.
right now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the parents get a single line. So to me, and if it is the whole idea of this is a dream, it's the idea that she maybe just is aware of them coming back, but then she goes straight back to sleep or something like that. But the parents are so dismissed in this finale. It's like they weren't important even in the first place. So
they don't even get names. They're just stepmother and
they
father.
They're just stepmother and father. Yeah, that's it. Oh God, I love this so much. Yeah, this is one of my favorite films.
Yeah,
I
understandable.
did like the fact she finally gets to properly hug all the characters. Like she gives
Yes.
Didymus a absolute bear hug. You
Uh-huh.
imagine the poor puppeteer was like, my hand has just been broken.
Wow. What an amazing odyssey that film is. It's so beautiful. Or it's one of those films where I can't help but love it. I cannot help it. I will always go to bat for it.
It's a film that starts off quite quiet. It starts off low key. It starts off, you're not entirely sure if this is for you. You need to give it a good half hour. And
Yeah. What is it exactly? Yeah, it's its own weird thing. It's chimerical.
And then when you get into it, you enjoy it. But then it does raise those questions. It raises those certainly a few issues. But at the same time, when it's resolved, you feel good about the way it's resolved. The bad guy was always the bad guy, always.
Yeah.
Oh, David Shaw-Hennessy. Okay, I will look up who that was. That was the Didymus voice.
Was that who did the voice? Right, it's a very good voice.
Yeah.
I've got to say, it's a great vocal performance in a film not short on them.
Absolutely. I'm actually kind of jealous of anyone who's able to watch this without any foreknowledge.
Oh, for the first time.
Yeah, because
Wow.
one thing that's going to be really hard to do in this day and age, but also they're going to have such a ride.
Such a trip.
Yeah.
Right? It's an oddity, isn't it? It was made at a time when films were a little less codified. I mean, I don't think it's any great exaggeration to say that. And where films like it could gain sort of mainstream release and appeal.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure they can anymore.
I mean, like we said earlier on, it helped that you had Spielberg and Lucas, who at this point had generated a lot of
clout.
Yeah. So
A lot of clout.
And so they went to people that they either knew or they respected or just had a feeling about, and gave them a chance to do something. And
I mean, that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
It's such an incredible pool of various talents and arts and crafts and just so much pulled together. It's kind of dizzying.
It really is.
I'm sure you're probably aware of this, but the dancers were actually choreographed by Gates McFadden, who was the Doctor in Star Trek TNG.
Yeah.
And as part of the deal, she was going to get to play the stepmother. But because of weird union rules, they kind of they stopped her from doing it. And everyone was really annoyed, but she never got to do that. So, but it was just this pool of talent across the whole board. They brought it all together for this. Dark Crystal had a similar thing, but obviously it had its own style as well. But then after that, it's been a lot harder and it takes more singular directors to pull this sort of stuff together now. But we will, I mean, if we'll try and do Dark Crystal down the line, absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm so up for that. Oh my God, I love that film
But
too.
it is a case though, folks. There is more stuff out there like this. It's just do a little bit of digging. Do it, especially when it comes to Henson. Look up Henson. Look up the stuff that Spielberg and Lucas did executive producing on, because there's a lot of other stuff like that. Some really interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
And you will find something there for you. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to just do a quick sum up on this, because I'm very aware that if we're talking about so many creative elements, we could go on all day. So, firstly, Mr. D, what has impressed you most about this movie and seeing it now, and what are your overall thoughts on the film?
I was impressed by just how well the whole film visually held together. There were maybe two scenes where I felt there was some of the blue screen work really stood out.
Yeah.
But they were scenes we actually mentioned were kind of a little anomalous, but really just such a cohesive world that Henson and his team built to play this film out in. It's such a rarity to see that, and it's almost all real, tactile. They were interacting with a real set with real puppets, and that I know you had the rubber spikes, but that still adds something. It helps believability if the actors actually interact with something real.
Yeah, they can actually touch them, right?
Yeah. And I know it's something that it can be really hard to do that with certain effects. There's reasons why digital can do things that it's called can't.
Hmm.
But practical does have something of its own.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see a team put their all into something like this.
Agree.
Yeah.
Cool. George?
I find it difficult divorcing this film from my own imagination. I think it informed a lot of of the shape my imagination would take, and therefore the shape that my personality would take. I think if you will find echoes of this film in my own work, like all the way through, and I respect its ambition and its intelligence, its willingness to go to places like the. It didn't have to go. I mean, it's
No,
a
it didn't.
fantasy film aimed at children, ostensibly. It did not have to have all of these depths and subtleties and ambiguities introduced into it, but they're there.
Yeah.
They are overtly part of the project, and it treats its audience in that regard with such incredible respect, both adult and child. It trusts them to get it,
Yeah.
to understand, and to be emotionally complex enough to resonate with it. I think it's got incredible charm and intensity and emotional depth. I think it's beautiful. I think it's an absolutely stunning piece of work. And it's the kind of thing that I'm happy. I'm so grateful to have been exposed to.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those films that it could have been lighter, it could have been frothier.
Yeah. Oh, easily. It didn't need all
Yeah.
of that stuff, like the Belle et la Bête ballroom scene. It didn't need all of that stuff. But it's there.
It could have been a much darker film. In fairness, it could have.
Yes, it could.
been
But also, in that regard, more simplistic. That's the
Yeah,
other thing, like
yeah.
the variety in tone, where it shifts so fluidly from being threatening and dark and dangerous to being funny and light and frothy and fun, and then back again, just in the same breath. It's wonderful. It's so wonderful.
When you talk about a film having a balance, this is one of the ones that it just is almost perfect in how it gets that balance right.
Yeah. And I think it's so sincere as well. It's so sincere in what it's trying to do and what it's trying to say. It really wants to engage its audience. It wants to communicate with you. And it doesn't just want to tell you things. It doesn't want to give you a message or anything like that, like a Nolan film often does. It doesn't hammer you over the head. It invites you to engage with the material and then says, you figure it out. What do you think? What do you think this is about? What does it mean to you? That's what it's about.
And it's not saying this is the definitive answer.
No, not at all.
This is a film that is open to interpretation and actively encourages it.
It is massively polysemic, this film, like massively so. Embodied in Jareth, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what he is. You never figure out exactly what his nature is in the context of the film. And I think that is brilliant. I would never want to know.
Oh, no. It would ruin the fun to some extent.
Yeah. For this to be interpreted through too literal a lens would just destroy it, I think. It would kill the magic of it. And the fact that it sustains that all the way through and makes it, in fact, it integrates that element into its themes and into its effects and into everything about it. That's genius for me. That is just brilliant storytelling. I think it's a wonderful film. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite films ever made.
Now, there are going to be people listening to this who go, this is great stuff. I could listen to this for ages. I love it. And they'll go, where on earth do I hear someone like George go on about stuff like this? And so to that, I would say, George, tell us where we can find you on the internet.
And go on is right, by the way, guys. There are podcasts that are like 3 hours long on my channel.
You're saying that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah. You can find me on Exaggerated Eloging, where there's more stuff like this. There are lots of podcasts analysing film and fiction and literature, and there are video game let's plays. Anything I feel like doing. It's a channel. It's a variety package. There's just loads of stuff up there. You can find links to all of my published work over at strangeplaygrounds.com. And also, if you go and type in George Daniel Lea at Amazon, you'll find all of the various anthologies and collections and things I've been published in. My non-fiction work you can find at gingernutsofhorror.com. There's a series called My Life in Horror, which is ongoing and which will be a book eventually, as soon as I've got it compiled and whatnot. And you can also find me knocking about on some of the extras on the Arrow film DVDs, on the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment, and also on In the Mouth of Madness as well.
Nice.
And that's me, I think.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for jumping on this today. Thank you so much for your thoughts and feedback. And to you listening at home, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still around, take care and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Hey folks, if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We chat about new movies every fortnight. And if you're interested in hearing more from us, and if you like a bit of fantasy, 40k or tabletop gaming, the links to our parent channel, the Fluff and Hammer podcast, are in the show notes.